good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're at. I want to thank you for checking out the Cali Truck Stop Theater. This is a channel where I just talk about anything that's on my mind and in my heart. You know, nothing really specific that I talk about on my channel. I'm just a truck driver, like I think I already said. I know I've said it on the videos, but anyways, I'm just a truck driver, average person with things on my mind. And so I want to thank you for coming in and checking out my page with me, checking out my channel, and coming along with these rides with me. How many of you can guess what time it is? What time of the day or night it is? It's pretty difficult to find. It's pretty difficult to tell, right? Because I'm like, I looked at the clock, and it's well after 7 o'clock in the morning, and the sun is not shining. I would think that by now the sun would start to be coming up. And guess what? Just as I'm saying this just as I'm saying that, that the sun isn't coming up after 7 o'clock, I'm starting to see the sky starting to get light. So it must be that these clouds are super, super thick, where the sun, to where, I'm not able to see the sunlight starting to come over the horizon. Yeah. So it's the weather has been pretty I wouldn't say it's been rough, but it has been somewhat challenging for me. Because yesterday, and the person over here flashing the bright lights at me as if I had my bright lights on. I just turned mine on. I guess he wanted me to have my bright lights on. Goofball. Anyways, so the weather's been kind of challenging. Last day and a half. Maybe 2 days or so. It's been cold, man. Cold. I tell you. Yeah, yesterday or the night before last night, I picked up this load in Wisconsin. And boy, was it cold, right? Up in Wisconsin. Snow on the ground, all that kind of stuff. Snow actually turned to ice. So instead of like a blanket of snow, it's a sheet full of ice. Had to go and pick up a load there. Excuse me. Which is this load here, and I'm taking it to Texas. Taking it down to El Paso, and so yeah, it was pretty cold and that kind of thing. And then I had to go through some a little bit of snow coming into Iowa. I had to make a stop off in Iowa for my end of my shift. It was kind of snowing there in Iowa, where I stopped off at close to Sioux City, and I get up in the morning. Well, actually, not in the morning. It was yesterday evening, because right now it's 7 hours, or excuse me, it's after 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock now, which was about 12 hours ago when I first got up, which was 7 in the evening, and shortly after that I got ready to get on the road. So I'm just about done with my shift right now. I'm just about done. I'm just looking for a good place to park right now. But I get up. I keep saying this morning. It was morning for me. The start of my day, which is the better way of saying it. When I got up at the start of my day, which a lot of you were just now starting to settle into yours. You was just starting to call it a night for you guys. But for me, my day was starting. And I get up and it was cold. I think the temperature it was probably, if I remember right, it was about 3 degrees when I got up. And because I knew it was so cold outside, I didn't want to go out and do a pre-trip. I was so tempted to just say, yep, it's good, good or whatever, and I'm good to go. But I got to do my pre-trips. No matter what, I got to do my pre-trips. Before I start running off, I mean, it's federal law that I gotta have a pre-trip under my belt before I take off. So I had to get out there and brave the cold. I'm not really all that on the cold. I like staying in the truck where it's nice and toasty. So anyways, can't get that green light. It had to turn yellow on me. So anyways, I go and do my pre-trip, and I'm checking everything out, and everything looks good. So I get back in the truck, and I get ready to take off after I've already gotten up, got myself situated and all that kind of stuff. Took my little morning crap. Had to do the morning crap, all that other good stuff, and I took off. Well, I'm taking off and just trying to take off. Now I have a light load. It's only like about 16,000 pounds, which is pretty light, and it was I was having a tough time trying to accelerate. I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And I'm like, well, I hope that we'll be driving on in the middle of the road here. Can't see the paint. They gotta put new paint out here on this roadway. At certain points, it's rather hard to see the paint on the roads sometimes, some of these roads. But anyways, so I'm taking off, and it's very difficult to move, to accelerate and stuff. So I'm like, what's going on? I hope that I'm not, my brakes aren't locked up. Brakes on the trailer is what I'm talking about, because when I started to take off, I can tell that the brakes was frozen. At least on my truck, I could tell, because it was hard to take off. But I felt the brakes break loose of that ice that froze up on them. So I'm like, well, okay, well, I figure everything else broke loose. So when I'm driving, trying to get on the freeway, I'm like, golly, this is kind of hard to, it's kind of hard to get going here. So I happen to look in my rearview mirror, or in my side mirror. Happen to look in my side mirror, and every slight little move that I make, let's say if I tried to move a little bit to the left and then I cut back over to the right, or go to the right and then cut back over to the left, every little move that I made like that, every lateral move that I made like that, I noticed my trailer was sliding around, which is a good indication that wheels are locked up. Because if your trailer is swinging around like that, it's because your wheels are locked up. That's what happens when a lot of times when you jackknife a trailer, a lot of times that's what happens, is that you've locked the wheels up, and so now that trailer is just free swinging. So I'm looking at that, and I see it doing it, very slightly. So I'm like, something don't seem right here. So I go and I pull over, actually, and I'm like, man, I hope I don't have these brakes locked up. And sure enough, the trailer brakes was locked up, because after I stopped, I could smell the tire. I could smell the burning rubber, from dragging all over the pavement, the asphalt. So I'm like, oh man, damn brakes is froze up. And excuse me. And it was my bad though, because when I stopped for my 10-iron brake, because of how I forgot about how cold it was, and when you have a chance of freezing up your brakes when it gets so cold outside. And so what I forgot to do was I forgot to release the trailer brakes after I had stopped for my 10-hour break. That way I don't have to worry about the brakes being frozen to the brake drum, which is what happens. And that's because every time you use the brakes, you heat up the brakes in the brake drum. And so if you got any kind of moisture or enough moisture in the inner workings of your brakes and they heat up, it becomes liquid. But then once you stop using the brakes and they cool down, that liquid that's trapped all in the inner workings of the brake and on the brake drum and all that kind of stuff, it refreezes. So it freezes everything in its current position, which in this case, my brakes was frozen in the engaged position. So when I go to release the brakes, they don't release, actually, because they're frozen in the active position. So when I looked at them during the pre-trip, it appeared that they were okay. But when I stopped, I'm like, man, after smelling the tire, the rubber, the burning rubber, I'm like, dang, my tires, my wheels are all frozen up. And the first thing I thought was I done put a flat mark on all the tires. So now I'm thinking, well, I'm on the side of the freeway now, and I need to get out. Well, there's a dilemma. Either I call in and say that I need road maintenance to come out and unfree my brakes, or I can get out and do it myself. And so, well, simply put, which I think I said this in another video too, is that sometimes You know, the thing about being out here on the road and being out here by yourself with no one to really help you immediately, nobody is immediately here to help you. You have to be very creative in being able to do things on your own so that you can keep going, so that you can survive or whatever the situation may be. See, I think of truck driving to be much like how it was back in the Wild West. You know, a lot of times you have people that was out in the open countryside, and they didn't always have the luxury of people or even tools to help them get things done. And so with that, these people who was out here roaming the open country had to figure out ways to get things done. And that's really how it is when you're out here truck driving by yourself. You know, sometimes certain situations come up, and you don't really, when certain situations come up, there's, you know, you have nobody to rely on but yourself initially. So you know, you gotta figure out, well, what am I gonna do when you know, X situation, when some situation comes up? What am I gonna do? How can I, or is there a way? I think that's the proper way is there a way to bypass or to fix whatever the situation is? Then is, how can I do it? And then it's to try to do it. So I got somebody out here walking out here on the side of the road in dark clothing. Golly. So you know, you got to figure out what you're gonna do when you're out here by yourself. Now, whenever there's a breakdown issue, I can always call and arrange to have a breakdown crew come out and fix whatever problem I have, whatever issue I have, no matter what issue it is. I have a breakdown crew that will come to me and fix whatever issue that I need to have done. But I'm one of those people where if I can do something, I'll do it myself. Because if I know that I can do a thing, I can do it. You know, I can do it typically the way that I want to do it, the way that it needs to be done, or however. But more importantly is that I can do it, and I can generally get it done faster than having to call somebody out to do it. And this is the thing, even though I have access to calling a road breakdown crew to come out and fix anything that I need to have fixed, it may take them several hours to get to me. And sometimes I don't have hours to sit and wait for a breakdown crew to come and tend to my needs. Nor do I want to be sitting around waiting when I should be driving. I don't want to be waiting around for nobody if I can help it, for somebody to come out here and help me. So if I know how to do something, or if I think I know how to, or if I have learned how to do a certain thing, I'll first try to do it myself. And so that's what I did. I'm like, well, I could call and have somebody unfreeze my brakes, because at this time I thought that all four of my brakes, because you know I got two axles back there on the trailer, and there's a brake drum on each set of tires, so that's four. So I thought that I locked up all four tires, all four brakes. So I said to myself, well, I have an idea of how to get my brakes released. So why don't I just go out there and try it? I don't want to have to get out there in this 3-degree weather to release these brakes from the ice. And so I was really dreading having to be out there in this cold weather for far too long. So this was my plan, was to go out, take a hammer, and beat the brakes, pretty much, beat the brakes off the brakes, you know, pun intended. So that was my plan. So I grabbed my hammer, and this is important. If you're out here driving truck, I mean, even if you got your car, even if you drive a car, you should keep a toolbox in your car, or keep some tools in your car, in case you ever have a situation that you may need to do some repairs or make some corrections while you're out on the road, because calling for a tow truck or anything else could cost you some money, and it'll definitely cost you more time for you to wait on somebody to come out there and get you than if you was to go out, than if you was to go and do it yourself. You know, so anyways, who the heck is this over here? Hold on a second. That was 5-0 over there. 5-0 was over there in the looked like the rest area over there, whatever it was. But it's a good thing that I saw. See, I'm doing a little side thing here. I hate having to drive these type of roads here, where you're going through these little towns every once in a while, because I didn't see a speed limit sign that said I needed to slow down until just recently. See, I was doing 65, and it was a small town. I was doing 65, and I come into this area where I just saw like a couple of buildings and a gas station and stuff like that. Well, I didn't see a sign that said, hey, speed's gonna change. And I didn't hear no beep from my instrument on the truck that lets me know when I'm going over the speed limit. See, I didn't see a speed limit sign. I didn't hear no beep, so it didn't indicate to me that I was going over the speed limit. I just happened to glance and see another speed limit sign that told me that I was going way too fast. So I started to slow down, and prior to that, I saw the police over there in the whatchamacallit. So I'm grateful that I didn't go blowing by him at 65 miles an hour. Otherwise, you'd be seeing me getting pulled over right now. Anyways, yeah, I hate having to go through these damn towns because they're speed traps. You know, they got a different speed sign every 200 feet. So you try, you know, one moment you're trying to speed up, the next moment you're trying to slow down. And it just makes it so easy just for them to pull you over and give you a ticket. Because yeah, they're like, well, you know, I caught you speeding. Well, yeah, you may have caught me speeding, but you know what? You know, the way you got the speed sign set up is not giving anybody enough time to actually make adjustments correctly, and you know, and drive the proper speed. So it's one of them things where you have police, you have the local law enforcement there. Using that as a revenue generator, and this is the same thing that happened to me. This is the same thing that happened to me up in Hermiston, Oregon, when I got pulled over for allegedly running a red light. These small towns would do that to you. These small towns would try to find any little thing to try and hit you with a citation, and then you either pay the ticket or you go to court. And these little small town courts, a lot of the times they're in the ring, and you know, they'll consider you guilty just so that they can get your money. Now, I know some of you might be like, no, it ain't like that. Yeah, it is. You know what I'm saying? You know that it happens, but the thing is, it hadn't happened to you. You know, it's just like let's just say you're a black person, you are a person of color, and the darker you are, the worse the outcome is when the police come messing with you because you are a black person, and then you relay your grievances to somebody who's not as dark as you are, and they're like, oh, well, that kind of stuff don't happen, and you're like, it does, it happens to me, but because it hasn't happened to you because of the way that you are, that's why you're saying that. You know, so we got to be mindful about how we judging people's experiences. You know, I know that black people darker than me will get, we'll have a tougher time than light-skinned people or even white people. That was ice. Don't get hurt. Don't be scared. That was ice. You know, and so the same thing applies. This is what happened. This is my experience. This is what happens with me. I can't even talk now. I don't always get hung up on the race thing, but I'm pretty sure that some of these situations that I'm in has something to do with race on occasion. But I'm always getting hung up on these issues here where, you know, somebody has the opportunity to do something to me. But see, I'm going on a rant. I'm digressing. But I'm just saying, I would prefer just to stay on the interstate. But sometimes I gotta cut through on these state highways where there's a whole bunch of little tiny towns, you know, running in between the, in the route there. So there's a lot of speeding up and slowing down that I got to do. And I'm just saying that I don't like that. But anyways, back to my original story, that I had to go out there and beat the brakes off the brakes. And so the hammer that I had, and this is why I say you should put some tools in your vehicle in case you gotta handle business out here on the streets. Try and take care of yourself before you go hollering out for somebody to help you. So I got my rubber mallet. Now, if you ever get caught in a situation like this where you have to release your brakes, there's a couple different ways that you can do it, that I've heard that you can do it. Now, I wouldn't recommend using one of those hard-headed hammers to go beating on your brakes, because with it being so cold outside, if your brakes are frozen and it's really, really cold out there, the components that you're going to be beating on are really, or they can be pretty brittle because of how cold it is out there. Everything gets brittle, so it makes it easier to break something. So you want to be mindful and careful of that. And it looks like I might be taking a little rest break over here. But you want to be mindful and careful of that, because you go out and you start beating the hell out of your brakes and stuff. You could crack the brake drum. You could break the brake pads. You could break all the mechanical things on your vehicle, and then you're really going to have somebody come and help you. It's going to require repairs, and that's really going to ruin your day. So I'm about to stop here. This is going to be the end of my line for today. Over here at the Loves. But anyways, you don't want to be using a hard-headed hammer to be beating on stuff in the when it's really, really cold like that. So you get yourself a rubber mallet, and that's what you use to beat on the brakes. That's what I use to beat on my brakes. And so anyway, excuse me for yawning. This is a small ass place. Good God. So anyways, and I think I know where I'm gonna park at too. I just saw me a little parking area. It should be easy, yep. Should be easy peasy to get out when I need to get out. So anyway, I took that mallet and I started beating on the on all of the brakes, and I beat them. I didn't know how well did I beat them, but nonetheless I beat them, hoping that I knocked something loose. You know what I'm saying? So I get back in the truck, and I attempt once again to. Why is my thing all messed up? My mirror's messed up. So I get back into parking space right there. Get back in the truck and I get ready to go, and voila! They were free. They was free. And so, with that being said, and I'm trying to back up here. Trying to back up in this place while I'm talking. This ain't gonna work right here. So, I need to regroup here. Stay with me. I'm just trying to get myself all situated here. There we go. All right. So pretty much I got my brakes free. and I was happy about that. But I was wondering at about how, you know, what kind of damage I did to the brakes or to the tires. Because here I am thinking, I'm thinking that and I'm just trying to get myself into the spot here. I'm thinking to myself that all 4 of my tires is gone, when in all actuality, after I looked at it when I stopped at one of these truck stops, really all that had happened was that one set of tires, or one brake drum, was actually frozen. All the rest of them broke free rather easily. Okay, and I'm just getting in my spot here. All, you know, so that they all broke free except for that one. So that was how I got that nasty little brake smell. And excuse me. And so yeah, I'm sorry if I keep pausing on you. I'm trying to do 2 things at once. I'm watching how I'm getting in here, how I'm backing up in this piece, and I'm trying to talk to you. All right. So I'm done for the night, or for the morning, or however you want to call it. So, anyways, long story longer. I only had one brake that locked up, which caused one set of tires to get a bald spot on it. So I'm gonna have to get that replaced. But I'm gonna wait till I drop this load off before I call for maintenance to change out the tires, so that the next person that gets this truck, or excuse me, this trailer, doesn't have to deal with flat tires, a flat spot on the tires, which that person can get in trouble by DOT if they if they were ever to get stopped and get inspected, because I did rub it down enough to where it was below the legal amount of tread that you can have on the tires before it's considered bad. So anyways, that was it. And I know it took me a little while to really explain what it went on, but all is well. I think I was going to talk about something else, but I done forgot whatever else I was going to talk about. But anyways, I'm out here in Oklahoma, and I'm going to drop this load off in Texas tomorrow morning, and then I'll be off on to the next place. So I don't know where I'm going next, but I can't wait for the next one. It's like a new adventure. Even though I've been to most places that we go to, even though I've been to a lot of these places, it's still like an adventure. So anyways, I'll see y'all later. Have a good day, have a good night, and I'll see you on the next one.